All right, let's go on to code arrangements. Chapters 1, 2, 3, and 4 apply generally to all installations. So in your code book, take a look at your code book right now. Stop it. Go to your table of content. Take a look at chapter 1. Let's see if we can remember. Let's see. Chapter 1, guys, is what? General requirements.
General requirements.
Chapter 2 is, what's chapter 2?
Wiring and protection.
Wiring and protection. Chapter 3 is
Wiring
methods.
materials.
Chapter 4 is equipment.
For general use.
Equipment for general use.
Right.
Because we could have X-ray machines. We could have that's not general use, so therefore that wouldn't be within chapter 4. So your chapter 1 through 4 are your general requirements, and therefore it's going to apply to all installations. That's just for this moment, anyhow. Now we'll move on. Chapters 5, 6, and 7. 5 is what? Special occupancies. Let's think about some special occupancies. Agricultural buildings, 547.
Yep.
Give me some other special occupancies you can think of.
Classified filling stations.
What's it?
Healthcare.
Healthcare, okay, 517.
Garages, filling stations.
Oh, garages,
Classified.
commercial, commercial garages, 511, fuel dispensing facilities. Okay, that would be
Marinas,
special
boatyards.
occupancies. Marinas, mobile homes, okay? And that's chapter 5. Chapter 6 is special equipment. Photovoltaic systems, 690.
Electric
Signs,
cars,
600.
elevators.
Swimming pools.
Pipe organs, electrolytic cells.
Welding
Okay, forget
machines.
What?
Welding machines.
640 is welding machines?
630.
630 is welding machines. What else we got? Special equipment.
Electric
Swimming
cars.
pools.
Electric car charging.
Electroplating.
620 elevators.
Elevator. Trying to look at the most common ones. Ryan.
Sound equipment.
Sound equipment, something
Fire
practical.
Pump, fire pump.
Technical power.
Okay, fire pump, good ones. Okay, that's chapter 6. Ryan, you picking up the theme here? Okay, chapter 7. Chapter 7 is special conditions. Let's see. You have emergency power. You have your standby power systems, emergency legally required.
Low voltage.
725 signaling and control, 725. Fire alarm. We're talking about special
Fiber
conditions. Fiber optics. So trying to give you like a little feel for what it is. Now, we're not going into chapter 5, 6, and 7 in UNEC 1. But, I mean, from UNEC 1 book, we go to UNEC 2, and then, boom, we take care of all those other special applications. Okay, let's go back to it. So chapters 5, 6, and 7 apply to special occupancies, chapter 5, special equipment, chapter 6, special conditions, chapter 7. These chapters can supplement or modify the requirements in chapters 1 through 4. In this particular series, we're going to UNEC 1 right now. Once we get to this part here, it's not even an issue because chapters 1 through 4 apply to general. But when you get to 5, 6, and 7, you got to be really, really careful because when you get into 5, 6, and 7, sometimes you forget that 1 through 4 applies to 5, 6, and 7. And also 5, 6, and 7 can modify and can have additional requirements than what is required in chapters 1, 2, 3, and 4. Let's go on to the last one. The last chapter, or not the last chapter, but the next chapter. Chapter 8, communication systems. Let's talk about communication systems. And I use this term to make it easier for people. It took me a while to figure out. Chapter 7 kicked my butt. And chapter 8, I know Ryan had kicked your butt too when we started. I mean, chapter 7, I'd already been ahead of you, so I was able to help you out. But chapter 725, 767, I mean, oh my gosh, it will just kick your butt. It will eat your lunch on code. Let me tell you, I don't care how much you know chapters 1 to 4. You get into chapter 5, 6, and 7, and 8, it's over. You really got to know what's going on. And in chapter 8, totally, completely lost on that one also. It took me a long time to figure. I had to write a book to be able to figure it out. All right, chapter 8, 800 is communications. When I tell people this, twisted pair. I think my tabs say that. 800, twisted pair. 810 is going to be antennas.
Coax.
That's going to be your, what's the VHS, ham radio antennas. It's going to be a satellite dish. 810 is your antennas. 820, I just say coaxial cable. So if it's coaxial cable, you go to 820. If it's going to be an antenna, 810. If it's going to be a twisted pair, it's going to be 800. And then we have into those rules. Now, but interesting, let's take a look what the slide says about Chapter 8. Chapter 8, communication systems, aren't subject to the requirements of chapters 1 through 7. And that's a very unique situation unless those chapters are referenced in Chapter 8. So we're not going to worry about it now. But when we get into the UNEC 2, we get into Chapter 8, trust me, that is a big deal because, believe it or not, a lot of people are trying to apply Chapters 1 through 7 requirements to Chapter 8 rules when Chapter 8 says, no, it doesn't work that way. We're Chapter 8. We're special. We don't do anything with Chapter 1 through 7 unless we choose to do something through 1 through 7. All right, let's go on to the next chapter. Chapter 9. Chapter 9 is tables. And, you need them. And it's something that you really can only learn how to use Chapter 9 when you are required to use Chapter 9, when there is an application. And I see, Steve, this is probably where you get big in because it's exam preparation and conductor sizing and raceway sizing and voltage drops, you know what I mean, and impedances and all these things. So don't worry about Chapter 9, but that is a table that you're going to use later on throughout the code. Let's go on now. Here's an example of Chapter 9. Here's a table. Conductors, and if you're not familiar with all of this right here, you will be by the time we get done. If you take our calculations course or exam preparation, or if you continue on to this course in Chapter 9. Informative annexes. Now, it used to be just called an annex. Now it's called an informative annex. Now, an informative annex is not part of the requirements of this NFPA document, but it's included for informational purposes only. Informative annex contains explanatory material numbered to correspond with the applicable text paragraph. So, what we have is we have annexes is the back of the book. And it's like, what the heck is an annex? This is just like, oh, we just had some stuff and we thought you maybe want to know about it, so we kind of like just kind of put it there in the back there. So it's just kind of there. And so you'll see where we're going to start using some annexes, and we'll use an annex a couple of times. All right, let's get a little summary here. Let's take a look at the slide. General requirements, that's the scope of the program we're working on right now. Chapters 1 through 4, when we get done with this UNEC 1, we're going to go to UNEC 2, which is Chapters 5, 6, and 7, which are special requirements, and then we're going to continue to Chapter 8. And I believe we'll do something on Chapter 9. We'll have to make sure that we do something on Chapter 9. And then we talk about some annexes. And I really want to do a good job on this 2011 series on UNEC 2. I really want to make sure we get into the examples in the back. Just something that we make sure that when you get into the UNEC 2 and the DVD that you can see how those examples get applied.